Hey, what's up guys, Kadachi here and welcome back to the channel. Got a new build for you guys today. It's going to be an Archmage, Mjolnir, and Invoker. So I've been looking at the other Mjolnir setups. I played the Titan setup with the, I think it's Earthquake. And I've seen the Lich and Gemling setup. So I decided, why don't I just try to do this on a Monk. So we decided to try to put it together. This was not a very easy setup to get going for the mapping portion. The bossing is actually really good, and we actually decided to start mana stacking as much as possible. It's not like complete 2,000, 3,000 mana, but we got more mana than most of the setups I've seen, and it's enough to actually make Archmage give us a good amount of damage for our bossing. So that's pretty good. Now, the problem came when I wanted to put together the ad clearing portion. In the Lich or Gemling setup, you typically would see Trample Toe, and on a Titan, you really don't have to worry about ad clear at all because you have so much AoE. So I didn't really want to run Trample Toe, and even if I wanted to, it would have lowered my defense tremendously. So I decided to look into the Palm of the Dreamer. I looked at the Spire of Ire build we put together, and I thought about using some spear skills like Thunderous Leap, but it wasn't good on the scaling damage part, and especially in grouping. But then I decided to try a Mjolnir, a single-handed, and that also wasn't really good for just scaling Leap Slam. I only really cared about scaling the Leap Slam. So we decided to just try a regular one-handed mace with as high as fizz as possible and as high melee levels as possible, and that seems to be what worked out the best. So for a one-handed mace, I decided to go for any regular one that I could find at first. Nobody crafts them, so going for a perfect, mirror tier, whatever one-handed mace, that does not exist. I really had to work with whatever I could find and whatever I could try to craft myself. Now, what really started to shine was the Warpick. They have an implicit crit damage bonus, and I'm already scaling as much crit as possible for my Mjolnir setup, so I decided why not just run that. So you really want to try to get your hands on the best Warpick as possible, plus 4 or 5 melee levels, high fizz, attack speed. Definitely want T1 crit chance, and they are just really good for trying to get these Palm of the Dreamer pops to go off. Now, another thing I wanted to know about the mapping, in my personal honest opinion, even if I were to run this on the Lich or the Gemling, it's not very good on the mapping portion. It's way more of a bosser than a mapper. Having to run Trample Toe or Palm of the Dreamer, I really don't like that. So really hoping that GGG actually adds more base AoE melee skills that you can run, that will really make this type of setup pop in the future. So I'm really glad that this concept was even able to be put together. So I hope you guys enjoy it. With that being said, let's get into the gear. Alright, so starting with the weapons, you want to get 2 Mjolnirs with a good mix of everything. I really wanted the +5 lightning skills, but some people care about the 2 rune sockets. It's really what you can afford, because these things can get quite expensive at this point in the league, so as long as you can get your hands on 2, I ran this with the +4 levels, just get your hands on 2 and you should be fine. As for the ad clear setup, you want to find a Warpick with +5 melee levels, highest crit damage bonus as possible, preferably T1 crit hit chance, and the highest fizz as possible. This is the best I could find. I got this for 3 div. Nobody crafts these. Nobody even crafts on one-handed maces, to be true. But hopefully with builds like this coming out, people start crafting on more items like this. So if you can get your hands on a really good pick or even a one-handed mace to start with, it'll be really good ad clear. And you're going to partner that with the Palm of the Dreamer. It's giving us a lot of chaos res, it's giving us extra chaos damage. We're already stacking chaos damage with Ming's Heart, so this is really good. And it's giving us Perma Gloom Shine, which is supplementing the Trample Toe, so we don't have to worry about losing any defense. So if you can get your hands on one of these, definitely do so. Your first ring is going to be Ming's Heart. It's giving you a lot of chaos damage for both the Mjolnir and ad clear setup. You want to try to get the lowest maximum life, but also you want to also try to get the lowest global defenses because you're now using ES. I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna be another hard find item, simply because nobody is crafting items like this. You're really gonna want to look for a ring with percent lightning, percent chaos, and max mana since we're running Archmage. No one's mana stacking this season, so I could see why there's rings that don't have max mana on them. You're also gonna want 2 reses on them to fill in. But even if you take out the max mana, a ring with percent lightning and percent chaos really doesn't exist in this economy. So hopefully in future leagues, now that setups like this exist and more setups will come, hopefully they buff mana stacking next season, rings and stuff like this will exist. For your amulet, you're going to want to get highest spirit as possible with max mana plus 3 spells for your Mjolnir setup. Everything else is really what you can fit and want to fit in the build. As I said, even with mana stacking gear, it just doesn't really exist in the league. You just really find what you can get with plus 3 spells and highest spirit. You can go for energy shield, you can get crit chance, crit damage bonus, you can go for more res, whatever you can find. As for the body armor, you're going to want the highest hybrid base you can find with the highest spirit, double res, and preferably dexterity, just to fill in any attribute requirements you'd need. Mine is on the lower end of how expensive you can get. I think I've seen like 1,000 plus. So if you can get something that good, then that would definitely help tremendously in the defense portions of the build. For the helmet, you're going to want a deepest tower with the highest spirit corrupt as possible, preferably 10 plus. So if you can get your hands on one of those, definitely do so. For the boots, you're just going to want to get the highest ES as possible with the highest movement speed and highest res with preferably chaos res included. You do not need 100% effective socketed items. I just found these for a good price and I needed chaos res, so I decided to pick them up. If you do not need that, you can get another res on there and that will help out a lot. As for the gloves, you're also going to want to get the highest ES as possible with the highest res, preferably wanting to get the dexterity stat on there. We decided to get lightning damage to attacks too because it's helping with our ad clear and our Mjolnir setup as well. For the belt, preferably you're going to want a heavy belt for the stun threshold, but you're really going to be looking for max mana, double res with the highest strength. For the charms, you're going to want to be using a freeze charm, a bleed immune charm, and a shock immune charm. You do not need the unique shock immune charm. I just was testing this. I would rather prefer just a regular one with like increased charges or something, or increased duration, so try to get one of those. Here's what my other weapons look like during the making of this build. Like I said, they're not the best at all. So if you can actually get your hands on a good one-handed mace, the ad clear portion of the build will be a lot more smoother. For ad clear, you can swap out despair for blink. It's a lot better for traversing the map, and you don't really need despair for any mapping purposes. So I was using temp chains during the entirety of making this build, but towards the end I decided to add in vulnerability instead of temp chains to see how much more smoother it would be for my mapping, and it's actually a lot more smoother. So I'm only level 92 and we're already kind of scarce for passive points, but I was thinking if I could reach level 95 I could then take the double curse node on the tree, so you can then add in vulnerability and temp chains. That is a very good option. I would only use temp chains for the entirety up until that point, but adding vulnerability to the build will help in the quality of life for the mapping and maybe even bossing portions of the build. One thing that is important to note is that we swap execute off of our Mjolnir setup to our leap slam setup for ad clear. So you do not need execute on the Mjolnir setup when you are doing maps. You want it to be on your main leap slam for ad clear. Now if you're interested in seeing the DPS tooltips for the skills, here you go. The leap slam on the bottom is going to be the ad clear tooltip. And if you want to see the skill gems and their links, here you go. So starting with the Ascendancy, we're going to be taking I Am the Blizzard and I Am the Lightning for the extra damage. This is going to be for our Mjolnir setup and Add Clear setup. Then you're going to be taking Soul Spring Eternal for the meta skill gains multiplicative energy. This is just really good for our bossing and to add clear if you want to use Mjolnir, but it really helps with the Mjolnir procs in general. And lastly, we're going to be taking critical hits, ignore monster Ellie res. Now for the tree itself, it took quite a bit of testing to finally decide what the nodes that I wanted to choose, but we decided to go with these. So there's going to be a lot of weapon set 1 and 2 setup going on, so stick with me here. For the weapon set 1, we did the hybrid evasions up here, and for the weapon set 2, we're taking the crit chance to damage nodes here. Most of the crit damage and crit chance nodes are going to be for weapon set 1, so we took those here. Weapon set 2 is going to be all of the hybrid nodes here. This helps with our defenses. More crit chance here for weapon set 1, and we made this universal for both 1 and 2. I have a Megalomaniac with Spellblade and Event Horizon, so if you can pick up one with preferably Event Horizon, that's way more universal. We have a Firm Nothing with Unwavering Stance to take Finality in the other low life nodes, so pick one of those up. We're taking Spectral Ward here and Eternal Youth. We're going to be taking Dynamism for our weapon set 1 to get more damage when we trigger our Mjolnir. Careful Assassin up here for crit chance. You can take Abasement for some more stun threshold. Now this is an option, or you can take Icebreaker over here and get the freeze threshold if you're having trouble with getting frozen. We're taking the big ES node all the way up here, and since we don't need intelligence on our weapon set 2 as much, we're just putting this for our weapon set 1 for the Mjolnir setup. And we're taking Throat Seeker down here for some crit damage bonus. We have an Against the Darkness with crit chaos damage and spirit. You can get an Against the Darkness with lightning damage and spirit if you want to. Then we're just taking Heart Stopping and Heartbreaking for the crit chance and crit damage bonus to our weapon set 1. For our weapon set 2, you're going to be getting the evasion nodes here for the body armor and just some extra evasion, and then we're taking the companion damage nodes here. You're getting the increases and reductions to companion damage applied to you. Come down here, and the jewels you want to pick up for the build are going to be meta skill gain energy, crit chance, presence area, crit damage bonus, whatever you can find within those. Coming down here, and another jewel, and then we're going to be taking Polymathy and Jack of All Trades for some more damage. Coming up here, and we have our Prism of Belief with Lightning Warp. You can use a level 2 if that's all you can afford at the time being, but you definitely want to get a level 3. And we're getting the entire low life tree up here, and lastly we're taking the crit chance nodes here. 80% crit chance if you haven't dealt with crit recently, and that's going to be it for the tree. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys the bossing rotation. It's actually really simple. So you're going to start with 2 volcanic fissures, and then we're going to put down a despair. Now we have our despair set with life tap, so our mana isn't affected with the zenith for our Mjolnir. And after you proc your despair, simply just going to spam leaf slam, and that's going to be the entire bossing setup. So you can use Mace Strike. Most setups do use Mace Strike, but I actually find that volcanic fissure plus leaf slam adds for more Mjolnir procs in a whole. So that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I got more ideas to come in the future. We're going to be trying to push out way more builds come 0.3 and after 0.3. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next one.